This guy stole the body of a magic student, and in this academy, every student can summon a creature. However, that creature had already been chosen by the body's previous owner, but his starter Pokemon was ridiculously weak. That's when, boom, a system appeared and gave our protagonist the unique power to evolve creatures. At the Tamer school, the atmosphere was tense with the final exam approaching. In the classroom, the teacher reminded everyone that they had already made their first contract and advised them to rest well and prepare for the big day. Outside, the students talked about how nervous they were for the evaluation. With their current abilities, they said it was hard to become even an apprentice. In the classroom, a confident boy said he aimed for the Ninjang Academy, and that with his abilities he'd easily get into a mid-tier school, while another feared failing and living as an ordinary person. But at his desk, our hero seemed bored with it all. He wondered what all of that had to do with him, a time traveler. He had arrived in that world and body just a week ago. Through the memories of the body, he understood what kind of world it was. Hundreds of years ago, a catastrophe had occurred. Countless fierce beasts had emerged from dimensional rifts. They hunted and massacred humanity, causing immense suffering to all. Humanity fought back. During the war, they learned to tame the beasts and use them in battle. From that, the profession of beast master was born. They rose to global prominence. In this new era, beast tamers became symbols of status and power. Becoming a beast master meant entering the elite of society. It was every young person's dream to become one. In this world, everyone at the age of 18 could contract their first beast. The strength of one's soul determined the level of the beast that could be contracted, but none of that mattered to him, because the original owner of the body had already contracted his first beast, a small, harmless snowball. The creature wasn't deadly, it was only cute, and worst of all, it couldn't evolve. He wondered if he was destined to live a mediocre life like a normal person. Other time travelers got absurd powers, but not him. That's when a bully approached Lin Z, telling him not to overthink it and that being an ordinary worker wasn't so bad. Another classmate mocked him, saying that at worst, he could sell ice cream with his snowball at the mall. They kept laughing and teasing, suggesting he sell cold water. Lin Z grew furious at the provocation. Suddenly, a screen appeared. The system had finished loading and was successfully activated. With a heavenly sound, he celebrated. His system had finally arrived. Then, the system displayed his status. He saw that conquest points could be used to improve beasts. Curious, he checked the snowball's status. The screen showed that evolution would trigger when growth reached 100%. He was surprised. Evolve. Wasn't that supposed to be impossible? The system then displayed two optional evolution paths, the giant route and the queen route. Shocked, he realized the snowball could evolve. It must have been a hidden evolutionary path. He thought that if that was the case, he wouldn't need to set up an ice cream stand. He could become a beast master. The queen route could evolve up to king level. He held the energy orb, excited by the possibility. The screen showed the conditions for the queen route. He needed specific items and 100% growth. First, he decided to use the conquest points to improve the snowball. There was only one achievement available to collect for having contracted his first beast. He claimed the reward, earning 100 conquest points and a spirit crystal. With the reward in hand, he decided to use the conquest points on his beast. He focused his energy, transferring the power to the little creature. A bright light appeared, and the snowball's level quickly began to rise. Now, his beast was level 1, stage 2, with 100% growth. He smiled, happy that it had actually worked. But he felt bad for the creature, saying that being classified as an F-rank beast was truly unfair. He still needed the materials for evolution. 20 ice essences and 1 spiritual jade were required, but the price wouldn't be cheap. As he left, Zhang Hao mocked him, asking if he was already going to sell ice cream. He told his beast to ignore that trash since tomorrow's evaluation would depend on her, but the insult didn't go unnoticed. Furious, Zhang Hao asked what he had said. Rage burned in his eyes, but the Zhang family was too powerful. He couldn't face them head-on yet, so he would have to wait for the right moment. With a smile, he asked who the real trash was. The result of the final exam would say everything, but his confidence only drew more mockery. The bully couldn't hold back. Zhang Hao burst out laughing. He mocked him and his beast that couldn't evolve and told him to go home and sell popsicles. A girl appeared, telling Zhang Hao not to go too far. He said he wasn't afraid of that trash. The classmate still mocked the girl for defending him, but the argument stopped there. Lindsay thanked her, saying to leave it to him. She left, worried, as he had a plan to execute. At home, he looked at the expensive items. He knew evolving his beast would cost a lot of money, but now was the time for transformation. He offered the items to the little creature, telling her to eat everything and evolve, and the creature obeyed without hesitation. After eating, the beast burped. Her body started to glow and grow. Evolution was finally happening. A bright light filled the room. The energy expanded rapidly. The creature changed shape in the air. The icy power was so strong it pushed him back, and at the center of it all, a new form appeared. The evolution revealed a small ice crystal spirit. Its fragile appearance hid immense power. The system screen displayed her new status. Now his beast was level 2, stage 2. The evolution was a success. He was surprised to see that the beast had gained an entire level. Her strength now surpassed the average of the other students. The little creature approached him. Her hug was affectionate, but the cold she emitted was intense. Just getting close already made him feel cold. The ground around him froze instantly, and the power was greater than he imagined. A new achievement appeared on the screen. The first evolution earned him more points and a strength crystal. He smiled, thinking he made the right bet. Without the system, no one would have used such expensive items on a weak beast. He extracted the rewards. A spirit crystal and a strength crystal appeared in his hand. These items were very important. The spirit crystal increased his soul strength, and the strength one boosted his physical aptitude. He absorbed both crystals at once. His body was enveloped by powerful energy. A bluish aura exploded around him, and his status rose drastically on the system screen. He no longer felt the cold from his beast. A steady strength now flowed from within him, and to test it, he punched the wall. The impact created a large crater. The little creature hugged him again. She seemed happy with her master's new strength. He decided to go all in. He would use all the remaining conquest points on her. Channeling all the energy, he focused on the next level. Her level rose to level 2, stage 4, and her growth rate increased to 24%. With a confident smile, he was already thinking about the next day. The Advanced Association would have a big surprise during the evaluation. He walked with his friend in the school courtyard. She asked if he was ready. He confirmed he needed to obtain the Beastmaster qualification that day. She smiled, excited by his new motivation, and said that before, he would never have participated in something like that. He replied that people always change. Other girls gossiped in the distance. One pointed to Guan Ning, the talented student, and asked why she was hanging out with that loser. Her friend gossiped that Zhou Hong had confessed to her and was rejected, but the girl didn't seem to care. Guan Ning hugged him excitedly and suggested that if everyone passed, they should celebrate together afterward. He was awkward with the unexpected hug. Suddenly, someone interrupted them. It was a girl pointing at Guan Ning, accusing her of stealing her boyfriend. Guan Ning asked who she was and who her boyfriend was. The girl replied it was Zhou Hong. She said she wasn't interested in him and explained that she rejected him when he confessed, but the girl didn't believe it. The girl shouted, accusing her of seducing him first. He pulled her by the hand, saying they should leave. He didn't want to waste time on that, as they had more important things to do. The girl's cousin blocked him. He warned not to be rude since he had messed with his cousin, but his patience was running out. With a cold stare, Guan Ning told him to let go. The bully was surprised by her attitude, so he decided to show his power. He attacked with a fast and powerful blow, but Lindsay stopped it with just one hand. She was shocked by his strength. She didn't expect her brother to be so good at fighting. He was surprised too. He didn't expect his strength to be so great after enhancing his body. The bully stood up furious. He said Lindsay was asking to die. Then he charged, ready to attack again. His hand glowed with bluish energy, and he summoned his phantom wolf. With an arrogant smile, he mocked. He wanted to see how two students would compete with his wolf. Guan Ning was worried. Her beast was only level 1, stage 7. Even with confidence, the chance of winning was low. But she saw no other choice and prepared to fight. But he stopped her, asking her to step back. She was confused, asking what he was going to do. She wondered if he would use the snowball against the wolf, but he just smiled, saying to leave it to him. The girl called him crazy. She didn't believe someone with the worst qualifications in school would say something like that. He ordered his beast to attack. Lindsay summoned his little beast. The snowball leapt into the air, and suddenly everything around began to freeze. His beast activated the extreme cold domain, and the phantom wolf turned into an ice statue. The bully and his cousin were in shock. They couldn't believe what they were seeing, but the creature's power was undeniable. Guan was also stunned by the little beast. She asked if that was really the snowball. Then he revealed the shocking truth. His little snowball had evolved, and panic overtook the enemy. The bully shouted for his wolf to move, but the ice statue didn't respond. Lindsay then said that now his pet had a new name. It was the Ice Crystal Spirit, and with a command, the creature attacked mercilessly. A rain of sharp icicles surged forward, and the wolf was shattered to pieces. The phantom wolf was completely destroyed. Its icy remains fell scattered on the ground. The bully began to sweat cold. It all seemed impossible to him. He couldn't understand what had happened. His level 2 beast had been instantly defeated. His cousin asked what to do. He realized his mistake and told her to run, but a cold voice suddenly stopped them. Lindsay asked with a dark look. He wanted to know who gave them permission to leave, and fear paralyzed the two siblings. Ice spears sprouted around them. Panic was visible on the bully's face. He knew he was completely defeated, so he made a drastic decision. He bowed in despair, apologized. Admitting he was wrong, Lindsay looked at him coldly. He said the apology wasn't owed to him, and the bully understood the message. So he turned to Guan. He asked for forgiveness and promised to teach Zhou Hong a lesson, but his cousin didn't react in time. The girl remained paralyzed by fear. She couldn't say a word, so her brother forced her to act. He grabbed her tightly and shouted for her to apologize quickly to them, but Lindsay's patience had run out. He told them both to leave. The ice melted around him. He petted his beast and watched the two run away. Guan hugged him, impressed. She asked how he did that and if the beast could evolve more, but the answer would have to wait. He confirmed with a smile. He said there wasn't much time to talk now because a greater challenge was coming. It was time to go to the exam site. They arrived at the imposing association building. The place was huge and full of candidates, with a crowd already waiting for them. Other students waited anxiously. The nervousness was visible on every face. In the middle of the hall stood the Origin Stone. It was a giant rock with a green crystal at the center. The students commented on its size. Some thought it didn't look special at all, but that stone would decide everything. Lindsay knew what was at stake. It was his only chance to become a Beastmaster, and he absolutely couldn't fail. Everyone lined up in silence. The anticipation hung in the air. Then the examiner finally broke the tension. He welcomed everyone. He explained the little bronze medal they received and revealed its true purpose. The medal had 4 difficulty levels. Each came with a different challenge and reward, but the choice would carry great weight. The examiner pointed to a screen. The higher the difficulty, the better the rewards, and the prizes were very tempting. The rewards were shown to all. The highest difficulty unlocked a second beast slot, but few would dare attempt it. Students dreamed of the highest tier, but most knew it was far too risky, so someone asked him a question. Guan looked at him curiously. She asked which difficulty he would choose, but first, an important warning was given. The examiner asked everyone to choose based on their strength, and Guan already seemed decided. She looked at her medal with determination, and her finger covered the hardest option. The scoreboard displayed the class's choices. 46 chose easy, 10 chose medium, but 2 decisions shocked everyone. The crowd reacted with disbelief. They asked who the fool was that chose the superior mode and mocked such a reckless choice. They said only an idiot would slip their finger like that. But the choice wasn't a mistake, and the medal's owner soon revealed himself. It was him, the boldest of all. The others already counted him as failed, but his friend's reaction was the strongest. She looked at his golden medal, stunned. Her expression was pure panic. If he failed, he wouldn't be able to apply to the academy, and all his efforts would be wasted. But he just smiled to reassure her and said to relax. He knew exactly what he was doing. The other students judged him for the choice. They said he must have pressed it by accident, so the examiner approached him. The man reminded him of the warning he gave. He asked him to choose carefully, because that decision would define his future. Lindsay stayed calm. He said it was a carefully made decision, but the examiner examiner didn't seem convinced. The man stared at him intensely and asked if he really thought he could pass on the highest difficulty. With a firm look, he answered yes. The examiner laughed at the young man's arrogance. He said he'd already been warned, and if he wanted to play with fire, that was his choice. With the decisions made, he turned and announced to everyone that the assessment was about to begin. Everyone sat in lotus position. A green energy surrounded them, and in the blink of an eye, they vanished. Their bodies were transported elsewhere. Everyone was taken inside the origin stone. The examiner watched the points of light, and one of them caught his attention. Our hero landed alone in the center of an arena. The place was vast and silent. He realized he had entered the origin stone's virtual realm, and then one thought changed the whole game. He remembered the local rules. No injury there would affect his real body, so there was no reason to hold back. A conquest screen suddenly appeared. It was the reward for his first battle victory, and he could claim it right then. He smiled, surprised he could see the system. Without hesitation, he claimed his reward. He gained another 100 points and a spirit crystal. Wasting no time, he used everything he had gained. His and his beast's stats rose once again. Her growth rate jumped from 24% to 44%. With a confident smile, he felt ready. His chances of winning were now even higher, but the first enemy was already approaching. A flame lizard appeared in the arena. It was a level 1, stage 7 beast, and its power seemed too weak for that level. He wondered why the difficulty was so low. The creature didn't wait and attacked with a fireball, but he simply pointed with a finger and ordered his ice crystal spirit to attack. A rain of icicles formed in the air. Ice and fire clashed in an explosion. The smoke slowly cleared. The lizard was now an ice statue. The first of 5 levels was complete, but a new gate had already opened. He walked toward it, but a sinister figure awaited him. Behind the bars, a mummy stared at him. The creature was a bandaged monster. Level 1, stage 9. Its macabre smile was a bad sign, but the hero didn't seem shaken. He thought it would be a challenge for others. His confidence was written all over his face, though someone outside disagreed. The examiner watched everything closely, but for Lin Z, it was just child's play. The creature was already frozen to the ground, and the victory came far too quickly. The examiner said he got lucky with the attribute advantage. That didn't impress him, because the real challenge was about to begin. The second level was complete. Another gate opened in the arena, and then a giant shadow appeared from it. A hand made of dry branches emerged. The creature revealed glowing yellow eyes. It was a plague beast, plant type, level 2, stage 2. Its appearance was terrifying, and the examiner smiled hysterically. He said Lin Z's beast was at most level 2, stage 1, and no matter how talented he was, he wouldn't get past it. The beast attacked with its sharp branches. He was surprised by the monster's resilience. The beast used its branches to strike and trap the little ice creature, then charged full force. The examiner smiled. He thought the rookie's power ended there, but something on the monitor changed his expression. The arena floor began to freeze rapidly. His beast activated the extreme cold domain. With a grin, he asked if the enemy thought they only had one skill. Then he ordered a new attack. Icicles burst from the creature's body. The ice completely covered the beast. The ice crystals exploded from the inside out. The energy destroyed the creature completely, and finally the beast collapsed, defeated. The third level was completed successfully, but there were still 2 more to go. Meanwhile, outside, the other students were failing miserably. They were eliminated one by one. One complained that the 5th level on easy mode was too hard, but another celebrated their victory. Zhang Hao's group was tense. They recognized the plague beast on the screen, and they were shocked to see a level 2 beast in the evaluation. Someone recognized Lin Z's challenge. They saw him complete the 4th level, and finally, the final level began. The crowd couldn't believe his strength. After all, they didn't count him among the top students. Guan Ning came back to her senses, heart racing, as her test had finally ended. She celebrated, as she would now become an apprentice, but soon her worry shifted to him. She saw everyone watching the origin stone, and something incredible was happening there. Someone said Lin Z had passed the 4th level, but the final challenge was about to begin. A saber-toothed lion appeared in the arena. A level level 2, stage 5 monster. The crowd thought it was impossible for a rookie, but in the arena, the reaction was very different. He smiled, finally facing a real opponent, and the battle began. The lion attacked with a fire projectile, but the ice icicles intercepted it. The beast charged with absurd speed, and he could barely keep up with the movement. Its claws struck the ice spirit directly, and the impact was devastating. The little creature defended with an ice shield, but the lion's strength was far superior. The examiner watched it all, certain it was the end, and wanted to see if the boy had any tricks left. Strength didn't just depend on beast stage. Strategy and stats would make the difference. He knew his beast was in a weakened state, and the fight would be harder than he thought. If it continued like that, defeat was certain. Then the beast leaped to attack, and he needed to find the perfect opportunity. He prepared his beast for a counterattack. With a focused look, he spotted the opening. A quick command, and icicles flew. The attack struck the lion's chest directly. On the screen, it looked like a draw, and no one understood what was happening. But the lion was still standing, wounded. The examiner smiled, impressed by the trick. If he tied, his beast was at least level 2, stage 5. He remembered the boy's words. His choice really had been well thought out. In the arena, the lion still roared. The ice spirit looked exhausted. Then, her eyes shone with intense energy. She rose into the air, and a wave of ice spread out. The lion's paws froze to the ground. Even so, the beast kept walking normally. He remembered the lion had cold resistance, but it wasn't immune, and now it was being contained. The advantage, however, wouldn't last long. A new achievement appeared on the screen. The system unlocked a skill purchase function. New abilities could be bought, and he was surprised by that new opportunity. He knew most beasts had only 2 skills, and more options meant more tactics. He needed a control technique for a single target, so he chose Arctic Chains. As the lion jumped, he spent his points. Suddenly, ice chains bound the beast. With the remaining points, he raised his beast's level. The creature glowed intensely, evolving once more. The crowd shouted in surprise at what they saw. They couldn't believe it. They asked how it was possible to level up without materials, as it broke all the rules. Our hero just smiled and called the lion to the fight. He told his beast to test the new skill, because now he had the advantage he needed. The ice chains held the lion tightly. The beast struggled but couldn't break free, and this was the perfect chance to attack. With a quick command, he ordered the final blow. The creature roared in pain from the impact. The examiner didn't understand that new skill. He shouted, asking why his beast could use 3 skills. In the arena, the lion was still resisting the attack. He realized the beast's skin was too thick, but he wouldn't give up. His beast smiled, ready for another round. A wave of ice rose and trapped the lion. Then, a message on the screen confirmed the victory, and everyone outside witnessed his achievement. His friend jumped with joy, relieved. The other students couldn't believe it. They said it was impossible, and some even accused him of bribing the examiner. The examiner was also surprised. He admitted he had never seen an unknown become a celebrity overnight. A golden light surrounded him. His physical and spiritual stats increased drastically. His beast evolved too, reaching level 3, and the Arctic domain replaced her previous skill. He was impressed by the increase in power. The rewards for the higher difficulty were amazing. On top of that, he earned the right to contract a second beast. He thought about what the best choice would be. He knew he needed to visit a pet store to decide. A new achievement appeared on the system. He earned another 209 points and a spirit stone. With the rewards distributed, the test was over. He returned to the room, and everyone surrounded him. His classmates bombarded him with questions, curious about his ice beast. His friend hugged him from behind, happy for his victory. She smiled, relieved, and the examiner approached and praised him. He admitted that his confidence came from strength, not recklessness. The students had never seen the examiner apologize to a student before. The man invited him to the association. He offered a reserve officer position with great benefits. Everyone was surprised by the offer. Only the best students were invited to the association. The competition was fierce, like 1,000 soldiers on a bridge. He knew accepting would bring many benefits. benefits. But he also knew there was no such thing as a free lunch. The more he received now, the more he'd have to pay later. Besides, he didn't want to lose his freedom. So he thanked the examiner for the offer but declined. He said he'd make his own plans after graduation. A jealous classmate offered to take his place. The examiner looked at the boy, disappointed. But in the end, he understood Lin Zi's decision. The old man said he wouldn't force him to accept the offer. He pointed to his name badge, Hei Jen Wen, and said Lindsay was welcome to reach out any time. So the two friends left the building, but their steps were interrupted by a shout. Two girls ran toward them. It was Liu Xian and Zhang Xiaoyun from the neighboring class. They introduced themselves, but their interest was obvious. One asked for Lindsay's contact info through Guan Ning. The other already had her phone out, asking him to add her so they could hang out in the future. Both congratulated him on his achievement. But he just made an excuse and walked away. Guan Ning grabbed his hand to help him escape, while the girl chased after him, insisting he add her. And ding! A notification popped up on his phone. It was a message from his teacher. She asked him to come to her office. In her office, she congratulated him. She said she heard he passed the higher difficulty test. He was a bit shy with the attention. The teacher hugged him tightly, proud. She said he was her most cherished student, but he remembered a different past. He recalled running away from her with a bad grade. She let him go and handed him a book. It was a collection of basic spiritual techniques, and he was curious about the gift. She explained that it was a mandatory course for apprentices and that it would be good for him to start studying early. Spiritual techniques were essential for battle. With them, a master could fight even without their beasts, using their power to attack and defend. The abilities worked together with the beasts and protected the master from harm. He thanked her with a smile and said he'd start practicing right away. She dismissed him and told him to reach out if he had any problems in the future. In his room, he started reading the book. The first technique was the Spiritual Guardian, a shield of power that resisted all damage, consuming spiritual energy. He decided to learn the basics first. That way, he'd have more time for advanced courses at the academy. 10 minutes later, something incredible happened. He sat in lotus position, and a bluish aura surrounded him. An energy shield formed around him, and he realized he had already mastered the technique. For a normal person, it would take months, but with his 7.8 spiritual constitution, he learned it in just 10 minutes. Then, a new achievement appeared on the screen. The system rewarded him with 100 points. He realized that this also worked with spiritual techniques. With 350 points accumulated, he decided to enhance his new skill. The system consumed the points and upgraded the Spiritual Guardian to level 3. The shield became larger and thicker. Now, it could shelter up to 4 people, and he was thrilled with the result. He calculated the cost of the skill. Each use consumed 10 energy points, and with his limit of 780, he could use it 78 times. Then he remembered an item he hadn't used yet, the Spirit Stone he got as a reward. With the Spirit Stone, his power increased from 780 to 880, and his spiritual constitution rose to 8.8. Now he was stronger than ever. With so much power, he decided to learn 2 more techniques, because just a shield felt like a waste. The first was the Spiritual Arrow, a ranged attack. The second, Spiritual Impact, a melee strike. Night fell, and he began his training. He closed his eyes, focusing his energy. With his eyes open, he pointed and fired a spiritual arrow at the ground, testing the new skill's accuracy. The attack consumed 10 energy points, and he noticed the precision was excellent. Next, he prepared the second technique. His fist glowed with golden energy, and boom, a powerful punch hit the wall, creating a large crater. The system screen showed the consumption of 30 energy points. He was amazed by the power of that blow. With all 3 skills learned, the system rewarded him with a spiritual recovery potion. He saved the item for a critical moment, and with the remaining points, he improved his new skills. Our hero collapsed onto his bed, exhausted. He knew he needed money to buy his second beast. The next day, he went to the mission center. He looked for a job to take on, and with his current strength, he thought common missions would be easy. The system then displayed the available options. He chose the most profitable one without a second thought. but for his safety, the system assigned him to a team with 3 other members. He was annoyed, as he preferred to work alone. The destination was the Death Gorge, and he had to get there before 2 in the afternoon. Upon arrival, his new teammates were already waiting at the site. They greeted him, but one judged him by appearance and thought he hadn't even graduated yet. Another member looked at him with disdain, wondering how a rookie got assigned to that mission, but the woman in the group asked them to stop. She called him cutie and told him to follow her. He confirmed he hadn't graduated yet and said he was counting on their help, but the group leader scolded the flirty one, telling her to be serious. They were on a mission, and she just turned the other way. The brute named himself the temporary captain. He demanded obedience and said Lindsay would get a smaller reward. Lindsay thought they were just losers, people unqualified for the academy, so he simply agreed with a smile, saying the more work, the better the reward. The leader praised his sensibility, and the group proceeded with the mission. They entered the dark cave. The place was eerie and silent, but deep inside, glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. It was a giant beetle. Faced with the threat, the leader stayed calm. He said they just needed to seal the hole they were coming from to get rid of all the beetles. For that, he summoned his beast, a horned rhino, level 2, stage 5. His green-haired teammate showed off too. He brought out a wind-cutting mantis, level 2, stage 6. The woman wasn't far behind and summoned her fear wasp, telling little brother to stay close to her. Lindsay, however, kept his distance. He thought it best to observe their abilities before acting. Suddenly, a swarm of beetles poured out of the hole, charging toward the group with a deafening noise. The leader ordered everyone to charge and wipe out the insects once and for all. His beast obeyed promptly. The rhino charged furiously, trampling several beetles along the way. The green-haired guy called him reckless, and with a confident smile, he got ready to show his strength. His mantis's blades gleamed. He slashed the air with incredible speed, slicing the creatures. The attack was precise and swift. Several beetles were cut in half before they could even react. Seeing that, the woman said she wouldn't let them get all the credit and ordered her wasp into the fight. Her beast fired poisonous needles. The golden projectiles shot through the air at high speed toward the monster swarm. The combined attacks seemed effective. The bugs were hit squarely and fell one after another. Soon, the cave floor was littered with carcasses. The teammate then turned to Lindsay. He boasted about their great teamwork and said the rookie only needed to watch. The woman teased him too. She said he still expected payment and that she'd share a bit if he stayed behind. But the celebration didn't last long. The beetles on the ground started moving again, as if nothing had happened. Lindsay concluded that those flashy attacks posed no real threat to the swarm. Suddenly, a sharp scream echoed through the cave. The woman panicked and asked what that sound was and where it came from. The beetles stood up. Their eyes glowed more intensely, and they looked even more aggressive than before. They charged again, this time in even greater numbers, completely surrounding the team and their beasts. The group looked toward the cave entrance. They took a few steps back, surprised by the number of monsters, and a new beetle, larger than the others, emerged from the hole. The green-haired guy shouted that enemy reinforcements had arrived. Meanwhile, Lindsay wondered if there was an even bigger beetle king deeper in the hole. The swarm pounced on the rhino. The creatures climbed its body and attacked mercilessly. The larger beetle bit the beast's leg hard. The other 2 beasts were surrounded too. The mantis and the wasp thrashed about, but the enemy numbers were overwhelming. Panicked, the 2 men shouted for their beasts to retreat. Lindsay then explained that it was useless. The sound the beetles made had a paralyzing effect, and the beasts could no longer obey. The woman panicked. The green-haired guy turned to Lindsay, furious, grabbed him, and asked why he didn't warn them earlier. With a cold tone, Lindsay replied that they shouldn't worry about their beasts now, but about their own safety. The swarm of beetles kept closing in. The whole cave seemed to tremble with the sound of thousands of feet. There was nowhere to run. They were completely surrounded. The leader shouted for everyone to run. He said this wasn't a regular level 1 mission and that everyone would be killed. He tried to escape, running toward the exit, but the beetles were faster and caught up to him within seconds. Desperation overtook him. But before the impact, a bluish energy barrier appeared, shielding everyone from the incoming monster attack. It was Lindsay who activated his spiritual guardian. The green-haired guy shouted in surprise. After all, that was a spiritual technique only students from the Imperial Academy should have. But Lindsay told him to stop talking nonsense. He asked them all to watch carefully. He'd take care of everything. The guy was sweating sweating, unable to understand what was going on. Then, with a gesture, Lindsay summoned his ice crystal spirit. His companions were stunned. They wondered what kind of beast that was, as they had never seen anything like it before. Lindsay analyzed that the beetles were weak. Their only advantage was numbers, but they had no area attacks. With a confident smile, he thought his level 3 ice spirit had exactly the ability they lacked. The small creature released her Arctic domain. A powerful wave of icy energy spread from her. The giant beetle was instantly frozen. Within seconds, the entire cave became a frozen landscape. The entire beetle swarm was completely paralyzed. Lindsay then turned to the group. He told them to retrieve their beasts before it was too late. The condition was simple. They had to give up all the rewards from this dangerous mission. The leader didn't hesitate. He shouted that he accepted the deal, only asking to leave safely with their beasts. The green-haired guy, however, was furious. He accused Lindsay of daring to threaten them and asked if he was that Lindsay, the legendary candidate. And he confirmed his identity. The woman now understood his power. Her attitude changed, and she begged Big Brother Lindsay to save their beasts. But her teammate didn't believe him and yelled for Lindsay to stop lying and unfreeze the bugs so they could retrieve their pets. The leader called him an idiot. Out of patience, he punched him hard in the face, shutting him up instantly. The man said Lindsay's strength didn't need any proof. He admitted they'd been blind and underestimated him. While they argued, the ice holding the beetles began to crack. The freeze effect wouldn't last forever. Lindsay urged them to hurry. He said they needed to retrieve their beasts before the swarm woke up. The woman then asked what he would do. She recalled that those bugs couldn't be killed, only temporarily controlled. But he already had a plan to solve the problem once and for all. He explained that to catch the thief, one must first catch the king. His intention was to go straight to the root of the problem. Lying on the ground, the guy realized what he meant and wondered if he actually intended to enter the nest. Lindsay didn't leave room for more questions. He simply told them to hurry while he created an ice path for himself. And without hesitation, he and his small beast jumped into the dark hole, diving into the heart of the beetle nest. The darkness was absolute, but he could see clearly. He realized his physical aptitude also enhanced his vision. Suddenly, countless glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. The nest was far more crowded than he imagined. Then, a giant beetle appeared before him, but he used spiritual impact, pushing back the beetles charging at him. To defend himself, he reactivated the spiritual guardian, blocking attacks from all directions. But that alone wasn't enough to defeat them. So our hero destroyed the remaining ones with brute force, but he realized there were too many. However, he remembered he still had conquest points to spend. The system then revealed 2 new skills for his beast: Ice Shield and Freezing Nova, ready to be unlocked. He had 150 conquest points left. That was enough to learn both new skills. His beast mastered Ice Shield and Freezing Nova. With the shield, she could move freely, and the Nova was the area attack he needed for the swarm. Then he ordered his beast to use her domain. Ice crystals spread throughout the cave. Next, he activated his spiritual guardian again. With the ice element gathered, he ordered Freezing Nova. His beast concentrated all the energy into a single point. The beetles piled up against his protective barrier. Then, the small creature unleashed all her power, and a massive ice explosion wiped out all nearby enemies. The system screen confirmed that 50 beetles were killed. Smiling, he was impressed by the power of that blow. His beast advanced to stage 2 with an 89% growth rate. He realized this was a great place to level up. With the growth at 89%, he thought that maybe today she'd reach the next stage. But a roar echoed from the depths of the cave. More beetles emerged from the darkness, ready to attack. He concluded that their king was inside and called them to battle. Meanwhile, outside, the group was catching their breath. The woman said they needed to report the mission's danger immediately because Lindsay was in danger. But her teammate said he brought death upon himself. Suddenly, someone approached. It was a man who introduced himself as Luo Da, a bronze beast master, and asked if this was the mission site. The leader confirmed it but advised him not to go. Then he was shocked to see the bronze beast master badge. The other 2 were also stunned by his presence. The bronze beast master badge was given to the top 30% in the world. There were also also silver and gold badges, reserved for the best of the best. He explained that the association noticed the mission's difficulty spike and sent him to fix the mess. The woman lit up and asked to go with him. Luo Da approached her with a smile. He said she could come along, but the other two weren't qualified. Not that it mattered, because they said they didn't want to go anyway. Back in the nest, Lin Zi received a new achievement. He earned 300 points and a seed bomb card. He was surprised by the reward and claimed it without hesitation. With the new points, his beast advanced to stage 3 with a 94% growth rate. Our hero was one step closer to the next evolution. Then, they went even deeper into the beetle nest. Suddenly, Lin Zi felt a powerful presence approaching. He figured it was time for the true enemy to appear. But when it emerged from the darkness, the size of the monster shocked him. He remembered the crisis started a week ago. That meant the monster had evolved only recently. The armored attacker beetle, level 4, stage 1, roared. He thought about fleeing, but he wouldn't earn anything by doing so. With effort, he could claim a great reward. However, a rock monster suddenly appeared, attacking the nest. The impact of the strike created a massive crater in the cave floor. It was Luo Da and the woman who had come to help him. The woman was relieved to see Lin Zi was okay. He asked why they came back and was annoyed by the presence of someone else. Luo Da told him to fall back, saying the place was far too dangerous for him. He explained that this was the legendary king, the one controlling the entire swarm. But Lin Zi cut him off, stating that this boss was his. Luo Da turned, surprised, and asked if the boy knew who he was talking to. Before the argument could continue, the Beetle King charged to attack. He introduced himself as Luo Da, the Bronze Beast Master, as his rock beast held the monster back behind him. His giant rock beast was Earth type, level 3, stage 9. The Beetle King struck with its sharp claws, hitting the rock beast head-on. That's when Lin Zi's Arctic chains bound the monster's claw. And so, our hero introduced himself, and Luo Da recognized him as the kid from the upper-level test, though he bragged about his own experience in hundreds of battles. But Lin Zi said he would fight too. The woman then screamed, warning of danger approaching from behind. It was the Beetle King, who had broken free from the chains. Annoyed, Luo Da said he'd show the boy the difference in their power levels. He used a spiritual technique to strengthen his beast. The rock monster's strength rose to level 4, stage 2. Lin Zi was surprised that such a technique existed. The rock beast then smashed the beetle with a powerful punch, creating a massive explosion. Luo Da boasted, saying that was the difference between them. But the Beetle King rose again, now glowing with a red aura, and prepared a piercing attack with its horn.